And welcome to this week's episode of War Eagle Weekly. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
Doing pretty good, man. Spent my time out in the sun today, so I'm a little burnt up, but now I'm in the air
Just like we were
conditioning and I
last
feel
week.
better. Yep. Every weekend when I'm off work, got 3 days off. We're gonna spend some time at the pool.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, there's not a lot going on, but there's a lot of recruiting news that we're going to talk about tonight. Don't know how long this episode is going to be. Me and Josh always think that it's going to be a short episode, but
We
somehow
get to
we always
talking.
end up pulling it out. We get to talking. So, but I just want to welcome our new subscribers. We've had a real big influx of
Yes.
subscribers and a lot of people that caught our video about Georgia and Alabama giving Auburn the blueprint. And so hopefully we can live up to that hype, and we're excited to have you here. So we're going to be talking about the recruiting visits from last weekend at the time of this recording, Friday night. Um, uh, May 31st was when these visits took place. And then we'll touch base a little bit um, on the current weekend, which is the 8th of June, and talk about the athletes that we have visiting this weekend. But before we get any further into the episode, there have been some developments on Brian Batty, who continues to receive our prayers and his family. And being a parent myself, could not imagine what his parents are going
Oh my
through. But
goodness.
Josh, what update do you have for us tonight?
Well, I'm really happy to give this update actually. Um, Brian Betty's family, specifically his godmother, has come out and spoken to reporters about his condition and his progress. I'll read you word for word what she is quoted saying. Um,
Oh, good.
she says, Brian is still currently in the ICU, but we are fortunate to share that on Saturday, Brian was able to give a thumbs up to his mom with his left hand and show movement in his left leg. The right side of his body had not shown any sign of movement until 2 days ago. By the grace of God, Brian was able to move his right knee and leg. This news comes as a miracle, but Brian is a fighter and always has been. Brian did have his ventilator removed this morning and needed a tracheotomy. That's about as much information that
Wow.
was shared about Brian
That we've
Batty.
gotten. Yeah.
But having that type of injury, and then showing this type of improvement this quickly, it's it's nothing short of a miracle. And I was super glad to
No,
read
definitely.
that, and I really hope he continues to battle and make even more improvement.
I mean, all jokes aside, I literally was almost brought to tears because it's exciting to hear that, and you're happy for that young man and his family. And so
Yes.
again, our prayers continue to go out to him and his family. And like it is every week, there is no easy transition for this, but we do want to make sure that we talk about it. So we're going to move into, again, staying with some happy and good news. We've had two commitments in the last 2 days. First commitment popped on Thursday of so the what's today's date, man? I'm the 6th. Popped on Thursday the 6th. We got Donovan Starr committed. He's a 4-star cornerback out of Tennessee. I don't think anybody was expecting to see any commitments this
No.
early, especially in June, really, of all times.
Oh, no kidding. And to mention, he's a friggin' stud at cornerback. He's listed
Yeah.
at 5'11". He's split across the board on his star ranking, but he's an industry 4-star
Mm-hmm.
ranking. I mean, depth at this point, but the dude can friggin'
Yeah.
ball. I can only imagine his ranking is going to increase as the season progresses for high school. But
Yeah.
I mean, Crime Dog, man,
He was.
he's getting work done.
Yeah, and he's one of those late risers that a lot of tape is not on him, but he has some offers from some pretty big schools, and so like you said, it's only a matter of time before he kind of
Yeah.
moves up on the recruiting boards. He's already the 385th nationally ranked player, which There's a lot of high school players, and so that might seem real high, but that's a pretty good ranking. Definitely the lowest 4-star that we have on the commitment, but he is still a 4-star. Like you said, he's going to move up. He's the 36th cornerback in the position, just a prototypical cornerback with his size and everything. It was kind of a really cool story. He visited on Tuesday, was driving home to Tennessee, and was talking to his mom and told everybody and said that he really felt like he wanted to commit and she told him to follow his heart
That's what
and
he
he
did,
called
man.
the coaches up. Yeah, before he even got home, calls the coaches up and told them that he was going to commit. And 2 days later, he has all the graphics worked up and everything is all squared away, ready to go. And pop goes the weasel, and we all get a nice surprise that evening.
Yeah, man, it's a great get. I mean, the thing that's got me most excited about this kid is he's a track star in high school. The dude
Mm-hmm.
is only
Yep.
175 pounds, but the dude can friggin' burn. And that
Yeah.
track those track skills will help transition him into covering these bigger, faster wide receivers in the SEC. And again, I can only imagine, I can only assume that his ranking throughout the season is going to raise. And I think I could see him having a rise like Bryce Kane did last year. The dude committed
Oh
to
yeah.
Auburn as a
He was
three
a three
star and
star.
then shot up the friggin' boards mid season
Yeah.
and continued to stay strong with Auburn. And I could see it
Yeah.
happening for Donovan Starr.
And I remember when he committed, you were like, "Who is this guy?" And I was like, "Dude, everybody is saying this guy is a 4-star, and there's no doubt about it that the rankings just haven't caught up." And
I watched the tape and I
Donovan
was
Starr is kind of the
converted.
same thing. He's kind of the same thing. I didn't know who he was, but then you start looking at everything, and you're just like, "Okay, this boy can ball,
Heck yeah.
and ball don't lie." So, well, that wasn't the only big news we had. I wouldn't even say arguably. It definitely was the bigger of the two commitments in getting Broderick. Everyone calls him Brody Schroll.
Shoal.
Uh, Scholl, not
Shoal.
Schroll. I don't know why I added the R. Scholl committed.
Moron.
He is now, according to On3, he is the number 19 player in this class. Now, I would imagine some of the other recruiting outlets are going to increase their rankings of his as the season goes on because it hasn't even started. But collectively, he's a 4-star. On3 has him as a 5-star, so that's what we're going to go off of. This is a 5-star player. Now, this dude, we talked about him in last week's episode. He is 6'4", offensive tackle. He is number 13 offensive tackle in the class compositely between all the recruiting parties and everything. Josh, he had some really awesome exit interviews that everyone just automatically knew. Hey, this guy is
Yeah, as
he's
soon
gonna
as he
pop.
said
We
it, I
don't
was
know when
like,
it's gonna happen.
as soon as he said it, I was like, yep, he's coming to Auburn. I mean, you can't really think otherwise when he says, well, this was definitely the experience I needed to kind of make my decision much easier. I mean, you're
Yeah.
without getting the commitment, you can't wish for better words to come from such a highly rated guy. You just can't.
Yep.
I'm all smiles for
Yep.
Broderick
It,
Soul.
Heck yeah, dude. And this, I mean, he's only going to get bigger. He's only going to get better. You can't have enough offensive linemen.
Heck no.
You really can't, especially tackles.
No kidding. It's just
So
again, he's gonna get better as the season goes on, and he's gonna show all these other teams what they're missing out on.
now this was what got me excited. Is I I can't say that I would have taken visits the same way he wants to take visits. But he was because I would have partied up, but he was quoted as saying, "This was the most detailed visit I have ever done in my life. Other schools want to do party and all that stuff. They literally showed everything they had and that they have and what they want to offer. It's pretty good." And so it sounds like the coaching staff was all business and he was all about it. He didn't want to go out to any parties or anything like that. He wants to get to work. And in an offensive lineman, that's what you want. You want those guys that's going to grab their lunch pail and get to work.
Yeah, no kidding. I
So
mean, you also want to hear what was part of the selling point for Broderick Scholl?
yeah, hit us
The
up.
agricultural and environmental science portion of the school and seeing the honeybees. The dude not only works on the field, the dude works in the field. He's he's
You know,
they build him different in
if I
Oklahoma.
ever, I was about to say, if I ever thought that he was from the state of Oklahoma, he definitely showed it there
Yes.
with being excited about the agriculture side of things. So, absolutely fantastic. Super excited for this. Hopefully, this gets the ball rolling. We weren't expecting a June commitment party, but it seems like it's getting kicked off. And in my opinion, the earlier the better. Gives us more to
Yeah,
talk
let's go,
about.
baby.
Now, Broderick Scholl, being the number 19 player in the country according to On3, crazy enough and just great to hear this, was not even close to being the highest rated player that we had visiting last weekend. We got a surprise visitor,
We
Josh.
did.
Who did we get that just surprised everybody the night before, or even the coaching staff?
Naeem
He told them the night before.
Naeem Offord, the number one cornerback in this recruiting class that is committed to Ohio
Yep.
State. That also said he refuses to take pictures with any other school's equipment on. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what he did at Auburn? He did exactly that.
Oh yeah,
Took pictures with all the
he had
Auburn
that number
stuff.
one jersey on.
Yes, sir. You know who he took pictures with?
Yes, Blake Woodby, who
the
we're going to talk
other
about.
Ohio State decommit. That is
Yep.
predicted to be committing to Auburn anytime now. But
Now we talked about this in the moment, and I told you I was like, dude, I'm not excited for it. Don't buy into it. I told you, and when you told me that he showed up, I was like, he's there to try to get Woodby back. He's there trying to flip some of these other
no,
guys.
he's there to have a good time.
He's not
boy.
really there visiting. And I think I was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. He visited the hell out of the school.
Yeah. So now this was something that I found interesting. Is he's telling everybody that Auburn is telling him that he's their number one guy, and that no one else is telling him that. I'm kind of along the lines of Zach Blackerby. I don't
Yeah,
really
I don't
believe
really
that.
buy that part because I mean the dude he's the number one player in the state of Alabama. He's a composite 5-star. He's 6'1"
Yeah.
and 181 pounds. He's literally the prototypical cornerback that you want playing for you. I mean, what school would not be telling this guy that he's their number one? So I mean,
Right.
if true, awesome. I know Hugh Freeze says that he is not missing out on this guy. He'll sell his house if he has to.
Yeah, he went up. He went up to reporters and told them he's like you can quote me on this. We're not letting him go.
Yep.
So either Hugh Freeze is gonna be eating some crow, or we're gonna steal another one
He's
from
gonna
Ohio
if he
State.
gets Neem Offord, he's putting the NCAA on notice, 110%.
Dude, talk about a deep cornerback room with what we have and what we have coming back next year. It's gonna be
No
ridiculous.
kidding, depth, baby.
So
Give us all of it.
yep. And again, talking about Crime Dog, he was quoted talking about that they asked him about Crime Dog in Auburn and if we had a chance to flip him from Ohio State, and tell the people how he responded. Josh,
No comment. Those are his words.
no, seriously, tell them how he responded.
Cameron, no comment.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what he told reporters. No comment. If you're 100% committed to Ohio State, which he still claims that he's 100% locked in with them,
You're going to solidify that with your
why
words.
would you say
You're
that?
going to solidify it with your words. You're not going to
Right.
leave anything up for interpretation. And with him saying no comment, good Lord, everyone is interpreting it the way they want to. There's just Ohio State
Yep.
needs to be sweating right now, in my opinion. They need to be sweating.
Oh yeah. Yep. And to add on to the no comment thing, he even was quoted as saying after he said he was locked in with Ohio State, he said, "We'll really find out when it comes to December." So it's like, okay, man, you can't be 100% locked in and say,
Cameron,
"Oh, we'll find
do
out."
you know what comes usually along with December? Freeze warnings.
Presents, Christmas,
Freeze
what?
warnings.
Oh, that's true. There's a lot of freeze warnings come
Yes,
December.
there is.
He is also possibly going to be there for Big Cat on the 27th.
Yeah, I swear to God, if we
so,
can get him to Big Cat, it's going to be very hard for him to not at least silent commit to Auburn. It's going to be very hard for him to.
Yep.
We all know what happened last year at Big Cat.
So,
This year's not going to be any different. If anything, it's going to be even more intense.
no. See, we sat here and we talked about how short this episode was going to be. We're already 14 minutes in, man.
I could do this all night.
So,
The wife would hate me though.
moving right along, let's move along to the offensive side of the ball. Still sharpening, still number one cornerback. Let's talk about the number. He's actually the number 2 wide receiver in the
No,
class.
in my heart, he's number one.
Caleb Cunningham.
In my heart, he's number.
What
In
was
my
that?
heart, he's number one because in his heart, Auburn is number one. We are his number one
Yep.
choice as of right now on his list of offers. And again, if we could get him to Big Cat as well, there's just zero chance he doesn't commit.
Right, and he said that it's like a brotherhood there at Auburn. The whole staff, they showed love. It's a vibe up there. It's just a great place to be. He has great relationships with the coaches, and Auburn is his number one school. And the thing is when we're competing against Mississippi State, I would imagine we're going to win 99% of those battles. So unless somebody comes through with a crazy offer, we should
you
be
would
okay.
hope with any of those Mississippi schools. I mean, even his last visit was actually to Ole Miss this past weekend, and he even said after the Ole Miss visit that Auburn is still his number one. He's quoted by saying that Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Malcolm Simmons, and Bryce Kane are all in his ear. They want to play with him, and he's like, he's building a bond with these other young guys, these highly touted young guys, and that's just going to speak volumes for the future, especially if they can get this guy to commit because he's going to carry on the tradition.
Heck yeah, man! And you got to stack these you got to stack these wide receiver classes, and Caleb Cunningham would be a great
absolutely.
addition.
I mean, that's an understatement.
We talked a little bit about him already, but next on our list is Blake Woodby. He's a 4-star, number 80 overall player in this class, number 8 cornerback in this class. He decommitted from Ohio State on the 16th and then visits Auburn on the 31st. Yep. So when there's smoke, there's fire, and pretty soon, hopefully, we'll have a freeze warning to put that.
Let's
fire
hope,
out.
Man. I mean, he said that this last visit exceeded every single one of his expectations that he could possibly think of. It was his mom's first time ever visiting the campus, and I mean, when your mom lives somewhere and you're already considering that place, it's kind of hard to not listen to your mama. I know it happened to me when I didn't listen to my mom. I can only imagine with these high-profile athletes.
You remember that high-profile athlete who he faked everyone out that he was committing to Alabama. His mom was an Alabama fan, and then all of a sudden he flips it to what was it? Did he flip it
LSU.
to Florida? Was it?
LSU.
It was LSU, yeah, and she storms out.
The dude's like,
"That's what's gonna happen.
I'm going to LSU." He didn't care. His mama was not happy, and I can only imagine some bonds were broken there. Let's hope this isn't the case with Woodby though.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is you hear it from a lot of these athletes on their exit interview talking about how well their family was treated by the staff. And everyone always talks about, and other fan bases make fun of us about this, that Auburn is family, and insert Fast and the Furious joke here. Brandon, go ahead, do it. He's our editor.
He's good.
If he's listening, he might insert a funny thing there, but who knows? But yeah, it's like a family here at Auburn, and it was nice to see that he sees it as well as his mom. She was saying that she felt that he would be comfortable coming here. So also talking about Woodby, he was at dinner. I barely touched my food because me and Coach Kelly were talking ball. Coach Kelly, we are real close. Coach Crime, we are real close. Again, there's a pattern here. Coach Crime Dog, man. Those relationships exceed past football too.
I mean, that's important. It all goes back down to the family aspect of everything. If you come from a strong family-oriented family, and you're trying to choose what football team and what school you want to spend the next 3 to 4 years at, and the school you're looking at impresses your family oriented mama and yourself, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you sell a school and the family ties and family bond to your actual family members, that's just a whole nother step. And I love the fact that Auburn continues to, instill this family atmosphere and just pound it into these guys' minds that it's a family here and you're going to be taken care of. And that just, it's got to give an extra layer of comfort to their families.
Yeah, yeah, no, most definitely. He also plans to return for Big Cat on the 27th of July. And then he's looking at his commitment being sometime halfway through the season, right around there, middle of the
He
season.
does say he's not
So,
planning on doing it anytime soon, which is smart in my opinion. I don't think you should
yeah,
commit to a school
yeah.
super soon unless you're like 110% dead set and for sure that's what you want to be. But these kids, man, take your time. Make sure you're making the best
Well,
decision for yourself.
he even talked about that. He even talked about that with his commitment to Ohio State and how it was kind of a rash thing that he did. He kind of, regretted it. And so I think he's approaching it smartly now. And so good for him to evaluate and really take a look at everything. Um, do not go to Maryland.
No,
They just suck. Don't take
those
another one
uniforms are
of our
terrible.
players. Okay, see, they get a bad rap about their uniforms.
They're
I actually
terrible,
love
bro.
them.
Just
I,
stop. Just
uh,
stop. They're so
I like them.
bad.
I like them. It's the Maryland flag, dude. It's kind of cool.
If you're lame,
Well, moving right along onto somebody who is not lame. We have a four-star linebacker, 6'1", Elijah Melendez. He's the 169th overall player, top 20 linebacker in the class. He is committed to Miami right now, but um, every visit that he takes will have to now live up to
that's what you want
this
to hear.
standard that Auburn has set. That's
Yep.
exactly what you want to hear. You want him to sit there and say, "Well, shit, I'm committed to Miami,
Is this
but
Auburn?
their visit wasn't like this. It ain't Auburn." And so hopefully we can get him on board. He said that Auburn has a shot to flip him from Miami, and he is going to return for Big Cat. So we're going to have plenty of opportunities to get this guy to flip. And he's going to have plenty of opportunities to play next year
No
because
kidding.
our linebackers are
They're lacking.
old,
But
man.
I mean, he's everything you want in a linebacker, bro. The dude is friggin'
Oh yeah,
huge. He's 6'1", 224 pounds. I mean, he's not huge. He's a damn good size to play edge or outside
yeah.
linebacker. Um, just get him on campus again. July 27th cannot come fast enough.
Big Cat's going to be huge,
It's gonna
man.
be
Big
massive.
Cat's going to be huge. Moving on to, again, flipping back to the offensive side, we have a four-star 6'1" tight end, Emery Winston. He is the 310th overall player in this class, number 18 wide tight end, but he is committed to
Yep.
Texas, and he has offers from a lot of big schools. So, again, don't let that ranking fool you. Look at those offer sheets. This is a player that big schools are wanting. And we just started to talk to him, but he's saying that Auburn's talking to him every day. He gets a scripture text from the coaching staff every morning, which he absolutely loves to see. So I'm pretty sure Texas is going to start sending them some scriptures as well, and we'll see what happens. But this guy, man, again, you want to start stacking those classes, man. We have why can't I remember his name? The guy that we got from Maryland, who is gonna likely be playing a little bit this year behind Rivaldo Fairweather. But
Rico
you
Walker.
want multiple tight ends. Or Rico Walker. There you go. Thank you. Um, let's see here. Do you have some of the quotes from his exit interview or?
Yeah, he said, considering that I hadn't talked to them and just started talking to them when Coach Ben Igamawa came to my spring practice, I'd shut my recruitment down. Auburn helped themselves a lot. We had never talked. Now we talk every day. I wake up and I get a Bible verse every single morning, and his mom loves that. He said he's possibly considering coming to Big Cat. He's got a lot of stuff going
Mm-hmm.
on in July. Um, but his next visit is to Texas through the 21st and 23rd of June, and then he says he's done with the visits. So it does sound like he has dwindled it down to Texas or Auburn. Um, he says the development of the tight ends coach showed me that how they use Rivaldo Fairweather and how they're planning on using the tight ends in the future. He says they really didn't stand a chance until last year because Auburn really hadn't used the tight ends as
Yeah.
much as you would want them to. He said he brought his mom, sister, and dad with him. They loved it, and they said they'd go to every game, whether it be here in
Again,
Auburn
family.
or in Texas. And yeah, he's also said in Auburn is only 2 hours away from my house. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's another an incentive to come to a home state school. So it does sound like he's still pretty strong with Texas. He's going to take another official just to I would assume just to try to solidify things or flip him the other way. So I mean, right now it could be 50-50.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Um, and then we're gonna jump back to the defensive side. We got a four-star defensive lineman, 6'4", Kalen Edwards. Now, for those that think that name sounds familiar, Kalen was committed to Auburn. He decommitted when Jeremy Garrett got hired away by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, but he feels really good about Vontrell King
Yes,
Williams,
huge.
and you gotta feel like he is an Auburn lean, and he will eventually settle back in with Auburn because he likes everything that he's getting from the new position coach as well. So, you gotta think this one's in the bag, right?
I mean, you would hope so. Uh, uh, um, to be honest, I really was worried about how well VKW would be able to recruit or retain any of the guys that were
Mm-hmm.
either committed to Auburn or looking at Auburn. But with the guy decommitting because his position coach went to the NFL, I mean it's valid.
It's
You don't want the
understandable. Yeah,
players to commit to a specific coach, especially a position coach, but it makes sense, especially if they're
but that's what
primary
they do.
recruiter. Yeah,
That's what they do.
and I totally understand. I'm not knocking anybody for doing that because again, it's all about that family feeling and all about the relationships you build with your coaches.
Yeah.
But the fact that VKW is getting this guy to continue to feel the love from Auburn, I would say Auburn has
Mm-hmm.
a very good chance of regaining his commitment, and it would be huge. He's an industry 4-star guy. He's huge, 6'4", 325 pounds. I mean, what more can
Mm-hmm.
you want from a nose tackle?
Yeah. Now, I will say he's going to finish up his visits. He's going to Louisville, Memphis, and Georgia. So I'm a little worried about the Georgia visit. Hopefully they're not able to do much to try to sway him. And again, hopefully he stays with his commitment to Auburn. Or well, sorry,
Recommits,
commits
yeah.
back to Auburn. Yeah, recommits. The last visit last weekend in this season's class, this year's class, is 3-star 6'5" interior offensive lineman Ty Buster. He is an Auburn commit. He is the number 43 interior offensive lineman. Again, can't have too many offensive linemen. On the offensive lineman side, 3 stars, the majority of offensive linemen are three
Yeah.
stars. There's very few that are 4 or 5 star. So you got to think that we're in a good position to retain him, especially with getting more and more talent on the offensive side. These guys are going to want to play for
Yes.
these guys.
Maintaining his
So
commitment would be
he,
huge.
he said he was mostly in, but he now feels 100% for sure. So I don't have much, worry there. That he hasn't even scheduled official visits with any other school. He said that Florida State and Tennessee are trying to get an official visit, but he's unsure whether or not he's gonna
Screw
entertain
him,
those
Ty.
thoughts.
Just kick him to the curb, bro. Bust
Yep.
him on the head.
Yep. Now we did have a visitor on Saturday as an unofficial visit. He came in for an overnight. The 5-star 6'4" defensive edge Anthony Tank Jones, who is the number 8 overall and the number 1 edge in next year's class, the 2026 class. He took his unofficial visit. that weekend as well. He talked with Coach Aldridge and worked out with him. Got taught a couple of things. It sounded like his visit was pretty good, and he said he's likely to return for Big Cat Weekend as well. And he did say that Auburn is in his top three. So again, 2026 class. So we're not really, leaning too much on that, but I did want to bring it up just because of how highly touted this player is heading into his junior year.
I mean, you build those relationships. Start it early.
Yep.
You can't start early enough, in my opinion.
Yep. Nope. So now this weekend, on the 8th, we have 6 players that are going to be visiting. All of them are 4-star except for one who is a 3-star offensive lineman. But we got a 4-star wide receiver Derek Smith, who is the number 47th overall player in this class, number 3 athlete. He is committed to Bama. Everything points out to him staying with that Bama commit. It's hard to think that we're going to get him and Cunningham, and I really don't see us getting him at all.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to try, that's for sure.
Yeah, no. Again, DeBoer is going to screw up at some point, so you might as well keep recruiting these guys. Another wide receivers, he's a 4-star, 6'3" wide receiver, number 75 overall player in this year's class, number 11 wide receiver, Travis Smith. Again, it seems unlikely. Georgia, I believe, is the favorite there. He's from Georgia. It's going to be hard pressed to get him out of there.
I would say so.
A lot less hope in this week's visitors as there was last week's. Moving right along, we also have the flip-flop man himself. If he commits to Auburn, I'm going to feel good about it, and I'm going to congratulate the guy, and I'm going to root for him, and I will be a fan of his, but he flips way too much. This is the Antonio Coleman, everybody.
I can't take
he
the
has
guy
committed
seriously.
to Alabama. Committed to Alabama twice and Auburn once. And before it's all said and done, he's probably going to flip back to Auburn and then maybe back to Alabama come the Iron Bowl. Who knows? This guy is going to be all over the place. We won't know until we receive his facts.
True.
Do they still take facts?
Yeah, they sure do, Cameron. I faxed somebody something this past weekend.
And then we have the Auburn commit, Tyler Lockhart, who is the number 16 linebacker in the class, 6'4". Now, this is a big dude. Now, this is a big boy.
He ain't small.
Now, he is from the state of Mississippi as well, and he, too, is communicating a lot with Cunningham and trying to get him to commit to Auburn, and hopefully he completes
Boy,
the job.
Is that dude excited about Cunningham's words. He is beyond excited about what Cunningham said about Auburn. I messaged him about it, and everything he said was in all caps with a ton of exclamation points.
Yep. We also have 6'4" offensive tackle Tavares Dice, who is the number 201 overall player in this class, number 16 offensive tackle. He is committed to Auburn. He's coming in for his official visit. Shouldn't have any issues maintaining that
keep
commitment.
him locked up, though. Just keep him locked up.
Yep.
6'4", 295 as an offensive tackle. Yeah, keep that boy locked up.
Then we have 3-star, 6'4" interior offensive line Jacoby Ward, who is the number 693 player in this class. But again, he's got big time offers from schools. His top 3 schools are Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee. Now, he's not just out here saying, hey, I want to go play there. These schools have offered scholarship to him. He's not like you and me saying, my top 3 are Auburn and Ohio State and Michigan. Yeah, no, this is legit. Now, we also, not just this weekend, me and you didn't even talk about this, but we have a lot of visitors on the 10th, which is going to be, what is that going to be? Jeez, the 10th is going to be Monday? Tuesday?
Yeah,
Tuesday.
No, Monday. Monday's the 10th.
Yeah. So we have 6 players that are going to be here on the 10th for their visits. The highest rated is going to be Isaiah Gibson. He's a 5-star edge, number 27 overall player, number 1 edge in this class. Now, again, we talked about Tank Jones, who's the number 1 edge in next year's class, but we got the number 1 edge in this year's class. He's committed to USC. That one's going to be a hard flip for Auburn. Now, everything points to Georgia flipping his commitment and getting him on board.
Man, Georgia can kick rocks.
We also have
Get them out of here. I'm tired of them.
I hope so. Oh, same here, man. Also have 6'4" edge Zion Grady, who is the number 11 edge, number 79th overall player in the class. He's visiting. Caleb Edwards, tight end. He's number 6 tight end. Javion Campbell, defensive lineman. 3-star defensive lineman Walter Mathis. And 3-star 6'2" running back. I'm going to butcher his name. Shakai Mills Knight. Maybe I got this right. I don't know.
I have no clue.
It's yeah, who knows. So hopefully we get some more big news. It's June. We're not expecting any big commitments. We've gotten 2 big commitments already, so hopefully we get some more. Moving right along, we're going to quickly talk about ESPN's initial FPI rankings came out. Josh, they got Auburn at number 19. Now Zach Blackerby did a really good job of explaining how this works. They look at that and they rank these teams based off of them playing an average team week in and week out. Not looking at their schedule, not looking at their strength of schedule and saying, oh, based off of that, they should be ranked this. This is, if they played an average college football team, let's say that average team is BYU. Okay, let's say BYU is the quintessential average team in the country. Let's say Auburn plays them every week. Then that means that they are the 19th best team in the country. So, initially, when I first saw this ranking, I thought that was way too high. But when you go and break it down like that, it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
I mean, some of the rankings make sense. I understand what they're talking about with that, but I don't know, man. Like, they have, let me see here. They have,
while you're doing,
Cameron.
I was going to say, while you're doing that, here, I don't want to steal your stat. If you got it ready, go ahead.
They have Texas A&M as the 14th ranked team in their FPI rankings preseason.
Yeah.
They have Ole Miss, number 16. They finished 10-2 last year and have a lot of guys coming back, with mainly their starting quarterback and their leading receiver. They have Auburn as number 19 and Florida as number 20. Are you friggin' kidding me? Florida at 20 is asinine. Not Tennessee, but Texas A&M at 14 above Ole Miss is even more asinine. So I don't really. I would like to say putting Auburn at number 19 this early is a little premature. Clearly, they looked at what they did in the portal and recruiting rankings as well. Auburn did nothing last year to show anyone that they belong in the top 20, let alone the top 25. In my opinion, they should be probably in the higher 30s, maybe number 29 or something, not in the top 25. Florida has no business being anywhere near the top 25, and Texas A&M has no business being anywhere near the top 15.
Now, I will say this, something I found interesting. Every team but one that is in the SEC is in this top 25.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll give you one chance. I'll give you one chance to guess the one team that is not in the top 25, Josh.
That's pretty insulting, Cameron.
Is it though? They're the smartest. They're the smartest school in this conference.
It's insulting to ask me that question. Vanderbilt belongs nowhere near the top.
Now, I will say this. I will say this. They did have some interesting information within this. So Auburn has a 83.4% chance of winning 6 games or more. So we should be able to reach a bowl. We only have a 0.8% chance at of winning the SEC. Now, this is what threw me off. 0.8% chance of winning the SEC, but a 13.5% chance of making the playoffs.
That's giving them a lot of
Tell me how that makes sense.
That's for sure.
Right? Now, as Auburn fans, I remember looking at this year's schedule saying, you know what? This seems like a really easy schedule. For the last few years, seems like the easiest schedule we've had. They still rank our schedule as the number 5 toughest.
Yeah, it's the 5th toughest. And 4 out of the top 5 toughest schedules are in the friggin' SEC.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough year, but I think Auburn can win some of the games they shouldn't this year.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they are worthy of the number 19 ranking, but I would say it's a little too early for that.
Now that we're done with that, let's move right along to the most insulting thing you and I have heard probably this year.
Disrespectful thing you could do in the SEC. Disrespect.
Georgia scheduled Auburn for their homecoming game, and they did it a week before they played Mississippi State. So they looked at that and said, we could choose Mississippi State this week, or we could go 1 week earlier and choose our rival game in Auburn.
Do they not remember last year at all?
No, it was at Jordan-Hare last year.
I don't care.
So, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
To make your homecoming against one of your biggest rivals in the Deep South's oldest rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope Auburn goes in there and just friggin' lays the lumber. Yeah. I hope that we embarrass them in multiple facets. I hope we pick Carson Beck off 6 times.
Amen,
we
brother.
return 3 or 4 of them. It's just, I understand, keeping rivalries alive, and I'm all for throwing shade and hating on the other team from other coaches and other players and all that. I love that. But this is an ultimate form of disrespect. We may get some shit in the comments from Georgia fans calling us crybabies. Guess what? I don't give a damn.
I don't care.
This is disrespectful.
Now, here's the thing.
Unheard of.
Here's the thing. Most years, your homecoming game is going to be in October, so that's fair. There were 2 opportunities in October for them to schedule their game, Auburn and Mississippi State. Now, it doesn't make any sense to have Auburn schedule Mississippi State. They're going to be a shit show. They're going to be a dumpster fire. You might as well. So the fact that they chose Auburn is just unbelievable to me. I hope these players take that as motivation and is okay to show them up. Now, I will say, in November, there was quite a few other options that they could have went with. They play Tennessee on the 16th of November and UMass on the 23rd of November. Now the 23rd is late in the month. I get that. That's probably unlikely. But I went back and I looked at Georgia's homecoming games from 1922 to 2008.
Damn, you went back.
I went back. Now I did. It was very easy because actually Georgia actually has it on their website. They actually listed them all, and so it was super easy. But they only have it up to 2008 for some reason. I think at that point they were just like, let's not talk about that.
It don't matter no more.
Yeah. But from 1922 to 2008, they had 23 homecoming games in November. So it's not like it's unheard of for them to play in November.
Rare, but not unheard of.
Right. So I hope the team goes and uses this as motivation. And
we're coming for your ass, Kirby.
Yep. Let's do it, man. Let's
coming for that ass.
Let's show them up.
We're gonna make you have to trim them hedges that weekend. I tell you that. Auburn is gonna ruin some shit, and I hope they do it in an embarrassing fashion for Georgia, not Auburn.
Yep. It should be. I mean, if Auburn is respectable at all, that should be game day. It really should.
Yeah. Well, you would hope so. That's what is that, week 5? Week 5. Holy crap! And they're playing Auburn as their homecoming game. Oh my goodness. I also love the fact on X seeing all these former Auburn players and former coaches talking about the disrespect or Georgia is giving Auburn right now. Like Tank Bigsby was pretty vocal about it, and I friggin' loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, I want them all fired up. I just want to see a good old fashioned ass whooping.
Please,
That
Lord.
2017 regular season game against Georgia.
Oh my
I'd love to
goodness.
see something like that, man.
Yeah, tell Darius Slayton to come to Georgia to watch the game because we all know what Darius Slayton did to you guys that game. And
So,
that was one of the most beautiful catches I've ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna
uh-huh.
lie. Terrible throw by Stidham. Great
Yeah,
catch by Slayton.
no, very true, very true. And well, with on that discussion and on that, we are going to end this very short episode of
We sure
44
as shit
minutes.
hit 45 minutes.
uh,
Holy smokes.
so, with that, War Eagle Josh.
War Eagle.